Hey guys, it's Charlie here, and today we're going to talk about budgeting. I know, it sounds really interesting, but it's a good idea to do. I'm not saying that if you don't budget for every single cost that it's not going to work, but I would advise you to make some sort of plan. I'm not going to give you guys the actual numbers because every person is different and no two people will spend the same thing on the exact same thing. Does that make sense? So in Excel, my dad and I planned all the kind of costs I would have to cover throughout the year, and so we divided it into categories, and those were travelling, personal, clothes, food was the most important one that I nearly forgot. I had a category called presents because when it came to Christmas or birthdays I was spending my own money to buy for other people, and that's just part of the budget. I think it's also important to think about where your highest costs will lie, because a lot of my friends don't live in the UK. I budgeted a lot for travel. As you go along and start your year, I would advise you to log your expenses. So I actually would come home with a receipt and type in every single item. Not everyone's going to do that, but what you could do, if you've just done a big food shop, just enter the total that's on the receipt and put food in one of the cells so that you know that you spend £80 on food this week. As you go along, you'll find you either spend as much as you budgeted, more or less, and it kind of tends to balance out. So I spent maybe more than I predicted on travel, but I was actually saving money at the same time because I don't really eat meat. So that was a lower cost on the food, which meant that I had the extra money to spend on things like clothes or presents, or I'd save it up and then figure out what I wanted to do with it. I say that, I'm still saving up. Do keep in mind that it might take a while for your spendings to stabilise, so maybe 1 or 2 months, because you'll have to buy things like school books that they ask you to buy, which tend to cost quite a bit, so do budget for that. Pots and pans, kitchen supplies, any cleaning supplies that you might need. I even bought a new computer monitor at the beginning of my year, which obviously was something that I wouldn't buy every month. But gradually they will settle and you will know what you're spending each month, and if you find it's too much, then you have to think about what you can do without, what you can take off, and obviously fix it that way. I'm not gonna lie, students do have a reputation for being poor. Doesn't mean you live without eating some days. I definitely have had more than enough to eat over this year, but it does mean you sometimes just have to watch what you spend. And I think budgeting is a good way to help that, and also logging what you spend. So those are my tips for budgeting. I hope that helped at least one of you guys, and I hope to see you guys around campus. See you soon. Bye.